but it's always nice to have a little recording to see to remember what we said. Okay. My plan today is a little bit like this. Well, not many here, so we can basically almost skip that. I mean, uh, um, would you like to have a few words like Hedda, you just said where you're from, and Tom André is from Norway, right?
Yeah, I can start if you want to.
Yeah, just a little
Uh,
bit.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Trondheim.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm just very curious about this project, so I'm joining as much as possible.
Yeah, nice, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. And I think Ross and Rainer is from Germany, if I'm not wrong. And Ru, hello. You want to say hi? Uh,
Hi.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Rosa. I'm also
hi.
from Germany, currently in Finland.
Okay, okay. Just to be warned, I am doing a little recording of this, so if that's okay. Okay. And I am actually going to meet three people from Finland on Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay. Um, I want to go through a little bit what's been happening. I have this elevator pitch project that Christian has been doing that's trying to connect us with people. And then we're basically trying to focus on the field trip planning for September, kind of combined with this funding application. And yeah, but so those are the most important ones. When it comes to the this connecting with other people, we've had a talk with John and Gary Tedesco, and that actually lasted for 2 hours. And luckily, I had a recording of that because there was so much information that we were given. As you can see, there were like 5 of us, and I think that it's good that we get to know about the equipment that they have been using and also the way they are doing it. Lots of details. And now we have like a shared document and a shared folder. So uh, our goal is to write all the questions we have into a folder, and then they will fill out the answers. So really looking forward to that. And just today we had Andrew Morgan from Australia. Um, that was just a short little hi and nice to see you, because both of these have been on um, interviewed by Ross Coulthart. And when Andrew Morgan then mentioned Project Hesdalen, I thought, okay, we should talk to him. So we had a nice little talk today. Same thing in a way, like what kind of equipment is he using? Can we do some kind of cooperation? It would be interesting if it's not just us doing it. He has this big area where he can go out and film. And what if the equipment that we are trying to create could be something that could be put out in this area as well? So soon going into the field trip planning, and you'll stop listening to me and listening to Rainer mostly. Um, as I said, we have this planning for the next field trip. It's in September, but we have a lot of things that we should prepare for. What do we actually want to do? What do we want to create? And can we make this as part of this funding? Like we're trying to show uh, what kind of stations we want to build, what kind of equipment we need, and put that into the application. Um, and hopefully we can test out these scientific cameras during the field trip. But for me, it was mostly like I would like to make some kind of a station that we could put out. Initially, I thought maybe we can just do it for the for that week, but maybe we can actually do it so that it could be stationary. That is kind of my goal now. And I put out here, like, could we do it as just a rooftop, something that we can actually have even in your home, in my home, or like when I go traveling, could I have something that I can take with me in my backpack? I would love that. Or could we make something that is like actually meant to be placed on a mountaintop, so that we can carry it up? So even this could be like a backpack thing, but we are then planning to make something that even if you carry like a solar panel, I found out there are backpacks that you can have. You can strap on a big solar panel, and maybe 3 or 4 people will carry all this up to a mountaintop and let it stay there. Because the main thing is, how do we have the power, and how do we get the internet, how do we make it waterproof, and so on. And there are many other things that we'd like to discuss too. Actually, I was hoping that Sigala, or Barbara Sigala, would show up today. Maybe she forgot, because she said she would like to be here and talk about their system. So let me see, I can go to this one and just go through this. Goal for this one is, yeah, it's not put in stone in any way, but I mean, the goal for the project is basically to get out new cameras and sensors, and also to get help from people joining us during this field trip to carry out the equipment or test it out, calibrate it, or whatever. And then if we are able to make these rooftop stations, these small dome cameras, then maybe we could get to agree with some people in the valley if we can put it in their house. And for the blue box, then we would definitely want to test the scientific cameras and the sensors. But the goal for those who join is, I don't know, I listed some here. I think it would be, everybody would like to see the light, I guess, and to meet other members and discuss the phenomena. Maybe also to meet the local people and to visit some of the places where, like where Erling saw his first had his first observation, and so on. Visit the blue bogs, visit some of the mountaintops, because it's a nice area. So as I said initially, I thought maybe we could just make time lapse for the time we're there. But now, because we have to do this waterproofing, condensation management, temperature control, and so on, even if it's just going to be for 5 days, we have to do all this. So why not try to make it into something that is more maintainable? Rainer, do you want to change it so that you can control it?
Yeah, no, it's okay. Leave it like this. I will
Oh,
tell you when to change the slide.
okay.
So in the last 2 weeks in the meetings, we decided more or less on 2 goals. Of course, more is always possible, but these 2 should be the main goals for the field trip. So what we can prepare, hopefully, to the field trip. I will have a few slides to each of the goals, but just as a short overview. The first one is to have data loggers in the field, hopefully, and also with an internet connection so that we can stream data to the internet. And the second goal would be to have scientific cameras, because they give you better image quality compared to the cameras we have now. But I will also say a few words later when we go to goal 2. Okay, please, next slide. So the first goal, autonomous data loggers. last year during the field trip, I built some data loggers, and I put 30 of them into a small valley. And they were offline, so we had to put them there. They stayed for a week, and we got them back. And they measured mainly the magnetic field, but also acceleration, gyro, temperature, and stuff like this. Of course, this was all offline and only for a short term, for 1 week, because it was battery operated. So after 2 to 3 weeks, the batteries would have died anyways. So the idea is to build a system that runs on solar so that it can stay there for a long time. And if the solar is sufficient and everything works, maybe also build in a 4G router with a SIM card so that the measurement data can be streamed to the internet live, more or less. What we could also do or think of, for example, we have these small microcontrollers with lots of sensors, and they measure the magnetic field, for example, 10 times a second, so with 10 hertz. So one could think if there is something happening, for example, the magnetic field is changing very, very rapidly or going to the other direction or whatever, since they are connected to the internet, they can act as a kind of trigger. So let's say we also have some stations with cameras, or of course we have the cameras in the blue box or maybe on other places in the valley. So if the sensors measure something anomalous, they could send a trigger to these cameras and they could start recording. Or if we have cameras in the small data loggers, we cannot run them all the time because of the memory and the processing power and the internet bandwidth. But one could think about putting a camera also in this small sensor stations and only switch on the camera when there is something anomalous. So this was the idea for these data loggers. Next slide, please. So how do we do it? Or how do we or I have planned it? Everything which is a little bit green on the backside is something where either I or people I know already have prepared something. So we are not starting from zero. So the first step, which starts now or has already started, is, for example, build the hardware for the logger. So I have some offline loggers, but this week actually I'm visiting an institute. They built a small logger with all kinds of sensors, and we can even plug more sensors into it. And this already has Wi-Fi. So I will get one sample of them, one logger from them, and maybe we can use this one. They are planning to build more, and it might be a commercial product in the future. So the logger hardware hopefully is there. Also, the second point, software for the logger is then more or less done because they did everything and they even sending it into the network. I mean, you can read by your own. I won't tell a lot to every point, I guess. So there must be some server software where the logger sends the data to, but there's also something prepared, so maybe this is not a big task. But of course, if you want to put it into the field, everything must be waterproof and also equipped with solar and batteries. So I'm called the final thing, the solar suitcase. So we have some kind of box with solar panel on top or on the side, however, with some batteries, with a small board that charges the batteries from the solar. One of these boards arrived just today here in Germany with me. But one has to put all of this in a box. And a colleague of mine actually has done something similar. So I'm working with him to get this waterproof box done. Once we have something which we could test, the second step would be either the blue box in Hestalen or maybe even just in the garden here in my home. Put everything outside. If you have a power line at the house, you can test it even without the solar part. But of course, the goal is to have it autonomous, running just from solar. And either you use the internet from your home if it is in Wi-Fi range, or even you get one of these small mobile routers and put it already in the box. So this could be at home or also in Hestalen because the weather is different in Hestalen. So then we hopefully see, okay, will this work? Do we need a bigger solar panel? Is it currently constantly out of power? Just to get a feeling, would this work or not? And the third step, more or less during the field trip, would be deploy them in the field. So either maybe on a mountain. I mean, we will be there for a whole week. So if something fails, we can go there and check. And also, see if the live data is coming in. And if something strange happens, then maybe use it as a trigger for the other instruments. Okay, next one. there are also some bonus goals. So if we have some volunteers wanting to do something, there's always opportunity. For example, adding a camera. Like I said, adding stuff or adding more sensors or different sensors, it directly connects to the power requirements, for example, or for the network bandwidth to the internet you need and stuff like this. But these are ideas, and if somebody wants to take a look at them, it can be done. So camera, of course, is always nice, because if something strange happens somewhere in a mountaintop or a valley, if you get pictures or video of it, that's always good. We can think of other sensors, for example, software-defined radio to monitor the radio frequency spectrum. I'm not an expert in this, and also you would need something beefier than just a very simple microcontroller for this, but it would be very interesting. Yeah, you can think of sensors for different gases, microwaves, or radiation, also radioactive radiation. Also, always a good thing is to improve the sensor calibration. So if there are some experts on this, how to calibrate magnetic sensors very accurately, so you're more than welcome to contact me. One can also think of using very low power sensors with this LoRaWAN network. So they can run out of 2 batteries for a year, more or less, but of course they don't do live streaming. So they sleep most of the time, measure maybe every minute, but if they find something, they also can immediately push out their measurement value. And of course, we can think of making these MuPass devices from Jim Segala portable. So this would also mean it needs a 5-volt power socket, so with a solar batteries, voltage regulator to feed in to the MuPass device, and of course a small router so that the MuPass can send out its data immediately on the spot. So these would be the bonus goals for the data loggers.
Oops, sorry.
The second goal, which we decided on, were the scientific cameras. Exactly. So we got contacted by a guy who has a big experience with scientific cameras, and he addressed 2 problems which we have, and we know of them, of course. So the 2 biggest problems are that the cameras we now have are more or less security cameras, which are very sensitive when it's dark. For example, on the big picture on the left, you can see it's more or less nighttime. The moon is on the sky, but the landscape looks pretty bright. But as you can see, the moon itself is just a white dot, so you don't see any detail in the moon. So if we would use a camera with a higher dynamic range, or where we can adjust the integration time, we should also be able to see details in very bright spots. And the other problem, which might be even more important, is we get compression artifacts, because they are security cameras, so they give us a camera stream which is encoded in H.264 or H.265. So these are video codecs. They are not the cameras for scientific measurement. You just want to have a pretty picture. And both of these problems can be tackled with scientific cameras. The problem with the defect with scientific cameras is, of course, if you have a scientific camera with a 1 gigabit per second interface, normally it also can give you 1 gigabit per second of image data. So within a very short time, your hard drive fills up. So if you want to use them, we have to think of some clever idea how to trigger them. They cannot be running all the time like it is at the moment. At the moment, the 2 cameras are running all the time. They are 4K cameras, and one camera produces 45 gigabytes of data each day. And from these videos, these stacks are calculated also each day. But for the scientific cameras, having 1 gigabit per second the whole day, this would not be possible. Also not to send it out via the internet. Also the internet connection at the blue box is not so fast. So we would need some kind of trigger system. Okay, next slide. So the steps for the scientific cameras would be, first, get a scientific camera. So I already have quite a lot of them in different kinds, frame rates, different resolutions from different companies, like you see here, either Basler or the second company is Allied Vision. We even might get another, even more professional camera from somebody who contacted us. These cameras here, if you buy them on eBay, they can be pretty cheap. So they range from 20 euros to maybe 100, 150 euros. It might be some years old, but I mean, they're still okay, and they don't have any compression. You can get the raw sensor data out of them. So if somebody wants to play with them, it's quite cheap as an entry point to get one of these. Also, accessing it via software is quite easy. So there are code samples. So when you start your sample program, you can just say, okay, give me all the frames you have for 1 minute and save them to disk. So that's also something which is already there. Of course, like I said, what we need, but what we don't have yet is some kind of trigger system. So we need to know when do we want the pictures from the scientific cameras. And there would be an idea to evaluate different trigger system. Either some people are programming something on their own, like image detection is some bright spot moving in the image, and they try to detect it and detect which direction it is going. But there are also already a different trigger system, for example, BOB or others, and they can be used with streaming data from the cameras we have now. You can even try this at home, and it would be nice. So if the system detects something and give us a trigger to connect this somehow to the scientific cameras, so that the scientific cameras can be triggered by the existing ones. One very big step, which I don't have much experience in, is build a waterproof enclosure for these scientific cameras. So these one in the picture, they are quite small. I don't have one right here, but they are maybe 5 centimeter cube, the left one. The right one a little bit larger. So they are quite small, but of course it all has to be waterproof, and they have to have a mounting to the mast above the blue box, and this can be quite tricky. Yeah, what can be tested at home or then in Blue Box? Yeah, how to attach them, test the software here or also the Blue Box. I mean, the software is quite basic. If you start the program, take pictures for a minute, this should be run also in the Blue Box. But of course, like I wrote in step 3, somehow connected to a researched trigger system. Okay, next slide. So these were the 2 main goals which we settled on the meetings in the last weeks. But this doesn't mean that you cannot do something on your own or something more if you are motivated. So these are just some ideas I put down, just not to forget them. But yeah, if somebody thinks one of them is a good idea, maybe he or she wants to pursue them. For example, there is a small cabin which has already a solar panel, but I don't know much about it. We could check, okay, is the solar panel okay? Are the batteries okay? Could we place something there which can be powered from solar, maybe the whole year? Or this software-defined radio stuff, if you don't want to have it on a sensor in the field, but in the blue box. We just put an antenna on top of the blue box, the wire goes in, we have a powerful PC inside. Can we do something with software-defined radio in the blue box itself? Or for example, the ADS-B aircraft receivers. So all commercial aircrafts have this ADS-B system telling them the position and the speed. And there was ADS-B receiver in the past, but it's not working with the current PC. But we could revive the system so that we know something is flying around and we can immediately see from the receiver in Hessdalen, that's a plane. That's the same system when you have your flight radar app on your phone. The flight radar app gets the data from these ADS-B receivers run by people all over the world. Then one idea is, I'll just finish, Andrea, then I'll give over to you, is to put cams on the roof of people who are willing to put a cam on the roof. So for example, I recently got this one. That's also a security camera from the same company than the cameras we already have. They can be put on a roof, so to say, placed upside down, looking into the sky. And I want to find out if this camera is all you need to stream data, maybe not to the internet, but at least to a server from Project Hessdalen. Because then it's quite easy. You just give this camera to Frank, for example. You just need one cable to connect it. Internet and power is coming over the same cable. And hopefully this camera can send the data directly to the internet without any additional PC needed. So this would be quite a nice solution, to put to people's roof. You really just need this camera and nothing else. So that's what I'm researching right now at home. What also could be done, and what I have at home, I just would need a place to put it, are seismic sensors for earthquakes or infrasound sensors for infrasound. an idea of mine, which I quite like, is to put a camera on a sheep, because the sheep are all around the valley, and we all assume that they have seen some crazy stuff. So if they would have a camera on them, this would be really cool. What already exists are GPS tracker for sheep. So there are commercial companies, and you can put GPS trackers on them, and so you know where all your sheep are. And I mean, this would also be kind of interesting, because if it turns out that some areas they never go, you could ask, okay, why do they never go there? For example, there has been rumors about the silent zone, Ökdalen, where also put the magnetometers. They claim that animals don't go there. So if we track the sheep with GPS, maybe over one summer, we can see hotspots, or maybe spots where they don't want to go. What also is an idea is to have trail cameras. They are motion activated. They have lots of batteries, so they last for at least a year. They also have or are available with internet connection. So they need a SIM card and you have to pay for it. But then as soon as something moves in front of the camera, then you get a picture of whatever is moving, and the video is saved on the SD card. And if you go there, you can read out the SD card and see a small video file of what happened there. And of course, the last point, I mean, at the beginning, Fred said we don't want to build the system just for the field trip. We have to waterproof it and everything, but it's not off the table. My GoPro is not really waterproof for 5 days. I don't know if I would put it out, but just to put it there, more or less waterproof with a battery pack. It runs for about 12 to 24 hours, depending on the battery pack you're connecting it to. And I mean, that's quite an easy task. If you have a GoPro and with a special door where the feed through for the cable, for the power cable, it's quite easy to put your GoPro somewhere on top of the blue box, for example. I had it for one day or one night, or to some mountains. So I put it on the mountain, and the next day I'm coming back and collecting it. So this is quite easy if you have the hardware already, and you get nice data. So either a time-lapse images or a time-lapse video or even a normal video. And if something would happen during the time you're videotaping, we will find it for sure. Okay, last slide. So that's the commercial slide. We need you, because I cannot do everything on my own. So if you feel you can contribute anything in the technical team, please contact me or Fred or in the Discord, so that we get the most stuff we can build until the field trip. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Yes.
Yeah, just wanted to ask you, can you confirm that we do have this USB receiver there in the blue box?
I can confirm. I also have a picture of it. We connected it to the Linux PC, but it didn't show up when we did LS USB. So it's an old one, but I guess it was running at some time. I can send you the picture. I didn't do a lot of research about it.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Erling?
You're muted.
He was talking about this airplane detector. It was working, and it should be working, but you have to need a software. When I used it, we had a software running on the Windows computer,
Okay.
which was supplied by the company who sold this device or receiver. And with this software, it automatically called up the receiver and downloaded the data all the time. So
Okay.
it should work, I think, but
Okay.
you need to have the correct software. We had it for Windows, but if you go into the website for the company, it's quite old now, but maybe it's possible to get
Okay.
the data. The second thing was the French station, which I know very well. It has 3 very big batteries. I don't remember how big they are, but and 1 solar panel. It's not in use now. It should be, and we had this was running on this French receiver, this recording device, which is not working at the moment. So this measurement of the magnetic field and the electrical properties in the ground, which this device did measure all the time, run by the solar panel and batteries. And there was never any problem with these batteries or solar panels. So they are absolutely working now. It should be very possible to use it.
Okay.
It would also be nice to change this this receiving state. It's not working anymore now, but there are two very sensitive magnetical sensors
Okay.
digged into the ground, which was or is connected to this recording device, which is not working anymore. And you have also dig down probes in the ground to measure the electrical properties of the ground. So that, or the electrical, if something electric is come, it could be nice to remove this recording device, which is not working anymore. And if you have another data logger, then you have the data. But the power in this voltage, the batteries and the solar panels, even when this recording device was running, it was always full, even during the winter time when it was a lot of snow covering the system. So we couldn't be sure that it was due to the snow that it did charge the batteries. But the batteries had so a big capacity, so it managed to run probably even if the solar panel was full of snow, I guess.
Okay.
So this is a good system which can be used. It's free to use. I have the key, or so no problem. I decide of the station. So that is possible. The only disadvantage of the location is that it's not on top of a mountain. It's down in the valley. So it's you don't have a great view up there. So that's not so good.
Do you actually see the river?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's when you are on Slettallet and looking towards Skarvan, you know that down in the river or down towards the river, there has been seen flashes many times, even down below the horizon. And in that, that should be possible to be captured with a camera on this station. And maybe you have been there, so you know this. You go into it. It's a house. It's windows, door, and it's possible to put a lot of instruments in there.
Okay.
Is anyone owning this place, or is it we can use it? Or owned by who?
By Project Estland.
Oh, okay. That's nice to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrea?
So we put it up, well, in combination with the
French
science camp. Yeah. So that's one thing, and there was one more thing. Yeah, you talked about camera houses. There was a lot of unused camera houses in the blue box, wasn't it?
Yeah, they should all be in Björn's garage, hopefully.
Yeah.
But good point.
Maybe I should check that when I go there.
Yeah, this would be nice. Yeah, if we ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see if they are still watertight, but at least one or two were watertight for sure.
And maybe I should also say that if you're planning to put up a power system or another station somewhere up in the mountains or somewhere, we have already a wind generator propeller, which is possible to charge the batteries if you get it. I have it here, so it's we can bring it up to Hessdalen if it's needed up there. So if you are planning to set up a small new power system for something, a new station or something, I have this wind generator at my house, so it's possible to get it up there. Maybe also we can get some solar panel, but that's that it's normally not that expensive, I think.
True. Not anymore. Andrea.
Yeah, good point about the windmill. I think diversifying our power sources would be always best. I wanted to ask you for some things, guys. Like one is, I've been trying to look for some Norwegian governmental open data, be it seismological data or other environmental data that maybe the Norwegian government may provide for free to the citizens. But my research was not so fruitful. So I was wondering if you knew anything about that, because that could give us some more sources of information that are on the territory, so we don't have to, let's say, ping USGS for knowing the earthquakes here, and yeah, might be useful. So I don't know if you know anything about that. That was my first question. The second one, oh my God. Okay, nothing. I haven't written it in the end, but I just wanted to point out that the cabin, which is at the bottom of the valley, could also be very good for relaying information as a backup plan. So
Yeah.
I would say it's always important to have another station, and especially if it's in the middle of the valley between two higher points, that could be an advantage.
You mean for the Luravan?
For example, yeah.
I think we should be able to find more like a cabin somewhere where there's actually electricity. That's what I'm hoping for. We have to look for these places. The problem I find myself, I'm going to show the map. I think I have the map here. I think we can find, if you can see my cursor, I think we can find...
You're not sharing at the moment.
Ah, well, it doesn't help then. Let me do that. Let me see. 1 second. I'm going to move this up here and then share and my screen and move the baby away. On the map. So I think the French cabin is here somewhere, and the blue box is here. So, and I think that we will be able to find houses or cabins easy enough in this area. There are also some in here. The problem is that if we want to go for this big open area that we don't see much, then there's not much power. I don't know how far up we can go, and I don't know if we have a Luravan gateway. If something put here or here would be able to reach this area. Yeah.
I don't know yet.
No. But I think the blue box would be able to kind of cover this area.
At least the line of sight should be fine.
Yeah,
You cannot judge if you are behind a mountain if it will work or not.
No, that's true. So we may need more of those two. Yeah. Any other questions or? So
maybe Erling, do you still have contact to the French people who set up this measurement device in the small cabin?
Yes, but it's been a long time since I contacted them now, a couple of years, but I have their email address. So, yeah.
Okay, just in case we want to ask what would we need if we want to resurrect the system or so, we could write them.
But the man who was the technical boss and knew every cable inside, everything, he was just retired back in 2010 when we set it up.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's possible to reach him though.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. I asked the one I know, which was his boss, if he could get me some small details about this sensor. You know, we have a very good sensor with high sensitivity. It costed thousands of dollars when I bought it back in 20. But he had to ask this person. So I'm not quite sure if it's possible to get all the details.
Okay.
I guess this person is too old.
Okay.
Let me see. We will be working more on this. As I said, this weekend I'm going to Hessdalen, so I'm not going to spend much time on this. As you see, I have put it here on this field trip. I tried to put out like these are the notes we had, and maybe I'll write something here too, and maybe I should just link the document that has all these notes in it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? And because it is a process to kind of get there at the end. And let me see. Then I have a little bit more. We still have some activity on Discord actually. That's kind of okay. Don't know if there's any comments about that. Let me see. I lost my picture here. Where did that go? Well, it doesn't matter. We have not been in the media lately. We've had interviews before, but not this time. And the web page. I'm trying to put out stuff, but that's it. Where are we? I'm trying to find this. Okay, whatever. So I don't know if there's any questions about that. Also about the blue box. Do you have any comments about this? The reporting from the blue box. Actually, we could have a look here. Because this is on the stacked stream stacker and cameras. I try to go through these pictures every day, and then I forget, and then I have fun another day. But
so today, or on the 17th, there was a bright dot behind some clouds, but nothing special. And some cars seem to have yellow headlights, so that's sometimes quite spectacular when they come along. Yeah. But other than this,
yeah. And there's been some solar
Polar lights.
polar lights. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So let me see. And where did I drop that one again? Here. Reporting. I actually had one. Let me see if I can find that. I'd like to go to the forms, and I now get it into this very simple form. Report a sighting, and I will not share it. I will just read it. Response and individual, and go to the last one. And they're saying, in Norwegian, they're saying that we saw a big, how do I translate that? Let's do that with help. Translate from Norwegian to English. And this is what they say. We saw a large fireball that followed the top of the mountain edge to the left of the, what's that? Skarvan. Okay, this is the name actually, so whatever. It seemed like it was moving a bit of a jerk. Okay. Jerky movement lasted maybe a couple of minutes. So two people, me and my sister.
Was it in recent times? So just now, or?
This is the date is, let me see. Yes, the 17th of, no, 23. 17th of 8th August in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, but at least they did put it in, so that's good.
Yep.
Yeah. And do I have any other? Yes.
Fred, have you put in the reports which Björn sent?
No, because some of them were more like, what can I call it? I looked at them and I'm still thinking how to put them in. And some of them are more like we want to see something more than actually that they saw something.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see. Where did I put this one? Yeah. So there are, and I can show you that. Let me see if I can show my camera. I am going to Hessdal and I'm going to put up this one, which is like a form, and it's basically the same thing as you see on the web page. It's like what did you see and when did you see it, and then your information, and some information telling them that I will contact them, so I will get more information. And I want to put this in the library and tell people in Hessdalen that it's there. We should try to get it out. I want to see if it's working somehow, and I just put some more information on the back so people will get it. Yes, because that's the problem, to get people to report. I think that's it. Let me see. I don't have any more on my agenda. I can stop this one. And oh yeah, okay. Any other briefing? Any other discussions? And basically, other project activities. In a way, what I would like to do is to get help to do these different activities. Like, can we make this solar station? What did you call it? You had a name for it.
A solar suitcase.
Solar suitcase. Yeah, something like you can bring with you different kind of suitcases. One that is a smaller one and a bigger one. I would like people to kind of work on different projects like that. Maybe we can show a little bit as we are getting some equipment ourselves, and maybe we could suggest people, you can buy this and you can bring it with you Hesdalen when you call, if you want to. And I also have a whole lot of projects actually on this site here. So there is a lot of things you could help. And as you see here, we'd like to create a page with links to information about weather, solar storms, etc. And I think we had someone on Discord actually giving links to some information. So if I remember correctly, so we should look into that. Andrea, yeah.
Yeah, about this thing, this information, we might actually be able to get it through APIs. So if you're going to use some APIs for weather condition and other things for the Blue Box, for example, and the server software, then we can actually even, I mean, we would pay once if there is anything to pay, and we can deliver them to the website.
Yeah. Yes. So I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything else anyone would like to bring up, or any questions people have. Oh, okay. 2 questions. Let's take on Tom André this time first.
Thank you. I just have a question regarding the so-called silence zone, Øgdalen. I haven't heard about that before. What's that all about?
Well, the story is that there is an area where animals don't go. So there are stories of hunter which were there out in the field, and they were looking into the sky, and then a bird is approaching this area. It does like a 90-degree turns and not flying over this area. Maybe the others know more and about this, but it's said that animals don't go there, or don't like to go there. When we have been there, I mean, there were some sheep on the sides of the valley. It's a small valley. And we also saw really small birds which breed on the ground, I guess. So these kinds of animals we have seen. But like I said, there are these stories of hunters that obviously some kind of animals don't like to go there.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding this, do we have any radon sensor already at hand, or metal detector anywhere? Any of us? Okay.
What kind of sensor did you say?
Radon gas?
Radon. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not radon, but the Geiger counter we have.
Yeah, that would be also helpful. I also have one little myself that I would like to integrate into a bigger board. But yeah, also radon could be something, because I think that animals might just, I don't know, sniff it out somehow. And so they might just avoid some places because of radon emissions. And since the geology of the territory is quite particular, there might be some abundance of radon.
And could you comment a little bit, Rainer, on the like if you have this controller and you can connect different kind of sensors to it, like I guess you can have different sizes, like some you can connect 5 or 10 or maybe more. And
yeah, I mean, how the system works, you have a very small board. I'll pack something like this here. And yeah, you have the microcontroller who controls the whole thing, and then you have like a bus system where you can connect different kinds of sensors. So they can be quite small. They look, for example, like this. So that's the microcontroller, and there are small boards, maybe half or 1/3 the size, where a sensor, for example, a magnetometer, is on it. And yeah, there are small sensor boards for all kind of stuff. So like I said, temperature, very easy, or magnetometer, acceleration, so the acceleration of the Earth you can measure.
Would this be like you plug it in, or like how is that working?
Yeah,
you have to
you
put it
connect them
onto it
either via wires, but of course for the field that's not very nice. So that's why the last time, here it is. So what I did, I also placed different sensors, first on a prototyping board like this, connecting it with wires, but you don't want to put this into the field, because if one wire flips out, the whole thing does not work anymore. So I created this. That's a custom-made PCB, so a printed circuit board, and one of these, and I plugged the microcontroller in, and the sensors which I want to have, plus a real-time clock. So because it is offline, it needs to know how the date and time. And another one is a micro SD card reader and writer. So it would look maybe something like this, or the system which I will see this week from the other institute, more or less it also looks like this, a little bit, I think even smaller, but they have a microcontroller and some sensors integrated on a PCB like this. And of course, you can put lots of sensors in. So like I said, this is like a temperature, magnetometer, and all acceleration. But if you, for example, what I would like to have done is to put 2 magnetometers on it, because one of the magnetometers gave a strange reading on one axis. So it measures the magnetic field in all 3 axes. And in the silence zone, one of the loggers, there was only one magnetic axis over the course of maybe half a day or a day. The value dropped to 0, let's say. But the other values of the other axis from the magnetometer, they stayed the same. So what was expected, if nothing happens, all values stay the same. You have a flat line of all of your sensors inside. Temperature is fluctuating, but everything else is flat lines. But this one sensor, the magnetic field dropped. And I highly suspect that this was just an error in the sensor, because they are quite cheap. Like I said, we built almost 40 of them, so every euro counts. But I would like to have at least 2 different kinds of magnetic sensors the next time. So if one of these sensors measures something strange and the other does not, so then you can be quite sure, okay, it was a measurement error. But I mean, there's no real limit. So you can put a lot of sensors on them. Maybe the limit is 127, because then the bus numbering is out, but a lot.
Like if you look at this now, it's like a module, and it looks like you're putting all the sensors that you want into this board. So in a way, then the question is, what are the sensors that you're going to put into this board? Because this is the ready-made one and contains all the sensors. Is it possible to have like extensions to it?
Yes, this bus system, which the microcontroller speaks, it has pins, so it has an external connection. So yes, you can, if you find, for example, a gas sensor for radon, which is readable via I2C or some other bus system, you could connect it, and you can also read it out. You have to adjust the software to read it out, but it would be possible. Yeah.
Okay. Is there some kind of, you need to know what kind of sensor it is, like if it's a Geiger or radon, or like if this is not in the set of the sensors that's in the card, then do you need to have some kind of a protocol to say that this is the way you send data into it? Okay.
Yeah. The sensors work. You are writing some values into some registers, and then you read other registers where the measurement value is. So you have to know you have to know exactly the sensor you want to put in, and what the bus system is, and how to talk to it. So yeah, you need to know the exact one.
So you cannot just connect anything. You have to know that this one, maybe you didn't connect it, but this one here you can connect the Geiger, and here you can connect the radon, but you need to know what is going to come.
Exactly.
Okay.
The data logger, which I will see or get this week, it also has analog inputs. So, for example, if you have a sensor which has an analog output, for example, there are very simple temperature sensors. The hotter it gets, the more voltage will come out. And then you just connect this voltage out of the sensor to the analog input of your data logger, and then the data logger doesn't have to know anything about the sensor. It only measures this voltage. Okay. So if you have a sensor measuring whatever, having an analog output, this would also be possible very easily to connect to the data logger.
So the interesting but expensive sensors, we could make kind of prepare for that. But if we can't afford them, then we can connect them when we can afford it. Does that make sense? If you have your card and you know that this input is for the Geiger, I don't know if a Geiger counter is expensive, but let's say that was like an expensive. There are some with the antenna, like electromagnetic. Maybe I'm just talking nonsense now, but if this needs external power or more power and it's more difficult or more expensive, but it would be very, very nice to have. Is it possible to make ready and then connect it when we can afford it or when we can get it?
I mean, almost everything is possible, either with this analog in and output or the I2C. Just somebody has to do it.
Yeah. And plan how it should be kind of made ready. Okay, Andrea.
Yeah, that is totally doable, and there is also some there is also a nice feature that we might use, but I don't know exactly how to do it as of now. But we could update the firmware on these boards remotely, so without having to actually get the boards, connect them to the computer, and re-upload the firmware. But I've never tried it, so
interesting.
I also had a question. If you remember, some time ago, I've mentioned this ideal project, like gathering together all the information that we have in the public drives and on the website, and making it like a navigable knowledge graph of sorts, a database that is consultable and fruitable in eventually even more ways, not just a regular database, but if we make it hybrid, like using a vector database, we could actually type in enable some kind of smart search or keyword search, and you might get the most relevant pieces out of the data. So I don't know if that is a project that we would value anywhere in the future. I know that a lot of focus would be in the actual sensing and the current situation, but I also think it would be important to have a more digestible way to read historical sightings and stuff.
I would like to know more about that. My only way into this for now has been kind of two approaches. One is the one that Jeffrey started, that we can actually kind of load in the reports that we have and connect it to other reports about the phenomena and use it as an AI model you can then kind of chat and discuss with it. I also see that now you have systems like Notebook LM, and you can connect up to 50 sources. So it's almost like what Jeffrey was talking about, where you have something in front of ChatGPT, or in this case, it's actually Gemini. So it's Gemini plus specifically 50 sources. So if we find all these sources and put them in, it's still like for some people, so you don't have an open account. It's an account for those who are using Notebook. You can't share it open. But yes, if this is possible, I would definitely like to know more about it. This is the reason why I have been putting all the reports that Erling has put in into one document, because I can load in this one document into Gemini or ChatGPT, and then I can ask it what colors do these phenomena have, what shapes do they have, and whatever. You can ask questions like that.
Yeah, and right now we don't even have really to use external models. If we want, we have possibility of using some local models, and for what we would need to do, simply rephrasing information taken from the vector database, that would be also a possibility. Like we don't need to go for the best proprietary models somehow.
Yeah, I need to understand more about this vector database. How can I kind of load it and use it and make it available? Yes. So please.
I would need. Can I make a little brief book and maybe show it one of the next meetings?
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. I'm writing now. Next meeting.
God, next meeting now. It's
Oh my God, it's 1 month from now, so no worry.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine. I
yeah.
should be able to.
Okay.
I have a small question to Tom Andre. You said you are living in Trondheim. Have you been to Hessdalen, or are you traveling every now and then there? Have you seen the lights?
Yes, I'm living in Trondheim, and I have been to Hessdalen multiple times.
Mhm.
And I have also seen I think it's the category 1 light,
Mhm.
the blue or white flashes
Okay.
on the horizon.
Mhm.
I have seen that 2 times the same night I was there. It was in September last year.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen anything else.
Okay.
But I'm still planning to go to Hessdalen very soon, and I have going to use all the summer and all the fall to see if I can see something. And
Mhm.
I'm also going to visit a local there. I think maybe Fred know who it is. Jon
Mhm.
Arvid Boss.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him this weekend.
Yeah, I spoke with him last Friday on the phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I have arranged to meet him in April sometime.
Yeah.
Just to hear a little bit
His,
more about his stories.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So I'm very very interested in this phenomena.
Have you reported your sightings?
No, I haven't. But actually, it was because I brought a friend with me,
Yeah.
and it was a very very nice night. It was like it is now. I can see on a direct camera because I have them
Mhm.
on my screen here. It
Mhm.
was no skies, and you can see all the stars. And we were at Vårhusgrenda,
Mhm.
the road, Vårhus, and we were walking with Finsahögda on our right,
Mhm.
and we were constantly staring up to the sky, and actually beginning to have this hurt in our neck
The neck.
because
Yeah,
we were
that's
looking upwards all the time.
the
But
Hessdal neck.
suddenly, yeah, but suddenly we saw this flash, and that was towards Øyungen.
Mhm.
And I told him, "Did you see that?" And he said, "Yeah, I really did." And we were, "Oh my God, did we see the light, or was it something else?" Because
Mhm.
we had never seen something like that.
Mhm.
And afterwards, I had to go back to Project Hessdalen on the internet and how to read about all this kind of yeah, all these kind of types.
Mhm.
And then I recommend it from the type 1.
Mhm.
So I think that's why I haven't reported it, because I didn't know what I saw at the time.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
there's no excuse now, I think.
No. You're not allowed to leave the meeting until you promise. Until you promise.
But I guess we were quite lucky, because that September was actually the first time we went up when it was dark and the main goal was to try to see the phenomena, and we
Mhm.
actually did. So
Wow.
we were very happy when we
Mhm.
left the mountain that night. So it triggered something in me. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
now I'm just waiting for the spring, so we can so they open the roads and you can drive in the mountain with your car and
Mhm.
start observations.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
bring some gear, the cameras or some other stuff to do measurements?
Uh, I have actually one plan, but I'm not sure how much it will help me, because I'm going to buy a drone,
Oh. Mhm.
first-person view drone,
Mhm.
with a 4K camera.
Mhm.
And my plan is to first of all just fly around and have a good view, and take photos, and also film and see if the drone catches something.
Mhm.
And of course, my dream is to actually see one of these lights moving in the valley, and and try to
And chase
intercept.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the kind of equipment I'm going to bring
Okay.
to begin with. But I also have a nice Canon camera
Mm-hmm.
and binoculars and things like that. But I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we were able to create something that we call the backpack station, where you can actually put it into your own backpack and it's not too big. It could just be one of these rooftop cameras that Rainer was showing. Because what I'm feeling is that if I go there, I'd like to bring something, put it out, and maybe if just say that I'm going to the cabin that I rented. Maybe I would like to put it outside. I could even use my own mobile phone to have the internet connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm thinking about buying a GoPro camera as well, but I'm not sure if you can how those works because I have never owned one, but it would be interesting to just leave it in the mountains for a couple of days and go back and pick it up and see if it has catched anything.
Yeah. But the problem, what I feel is that if you have like a GoPro or whatever, it will record to an SD card, and that's it. So I'm thinking that if you could have a station, what I now call the backpack station, and you know that you could put it up, and it will actually send it to the internet, so you're connected to the internet, and the trigger mechanism is in the internet, is on the cloud server.
Yeah, that would be the benefit, of course, but I'm not sure if those camera works on, or if you can connect it to some kind of.
But that's the goal. If we could create some kind of a rooftop station, backpack station that is movable, and then we have instructions how to set it up, and we could create some of these.
Yeah.
Maybe we could even have some of them in Björn's place, so that when you come and you if you want to have a hike up into the mountain, you could bring one and take it.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
That's yeah.
Because I'm definitely going to do that this season,
Mm-hmm,
and I'm very curious about this Ledalen area.
Yeah.
After speaking with Jon Arvid on the phone last Friday, he told me a lot of stories in this area. And as I understand, this area is actually the most explored area regarding to where the cameras can see, because the cameras on the Blue Box can't reach into this area now.
Most unexplored.
Yeah, unexplored. Yeah,
yeah.
So
yeah, me too. It's remote and there's no electricity, and that's why I want a solar panel.
Yeah.
But it's also like you say, if you want to go there and you want to take a trip, a hike, and it will take you hours to go there.
Yeah.
And if you have a few days, you could put the camera out there. You could come back, and it would have been recording for a few days.
Tom Andre, will you go to the field trip or come to the field trip?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I do.
Yes.
So
maybe you can also keep us updated. Are you in the Discord? I mean, if you go to Ledalen or so, just drop me a line, because it's always interesting when people are really going there. How is it like? Did they see something? How is the terrain? Very wet and with lots of small ponds? Or just drop me a line. This would be nice.
Yeah, I will definitely do it, because as I say, I'm very curious about Ledalen.
Okay.
And my plan is, when I'm visiting Jon Arve, I'm going to ask him, because he's a local guy and he's very known in this area. So I'm going to ask him to point out on the map where it is easiest to enter this area.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Okay. I think we say thank you for tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you in a month's time.
I will hang out here for a short while if somebody wants to stay, but other than this, Discord or in a month latest.
Yes. Okay.